Welcome to Hammond City Hall. We usually don't have this many people in the council chamber, so I do want to start off and recognize the city council that I work with that helped make today possible. I would be remiss if I sat here and took the credit, because we've been getting this city ready for the last 20 years for an opportunity like we had today, and I couldn't have done it without a great partner in the Hammond City Council. So I want to start off with the host councilman. This is the district that the Bears have chosen to relocate to, and he's the councilman of that district, Councilman Mark Kowalski. Thank you very much, Councilman. She's the council president, Janet Videsh. She's the councilwoman at large. Thank you very much. Hammond's 6th district councilman, Scott Rakos. Thank you very much, Councilman. Hammond's 3rd district councilman, our host councilman here, Barry Tyler. Good to see you, Councilman. He represents the entire city as well. Councilman at large, Dan Spitali. This is my councilman. He represents Hammond's 5th district, which is where Woodmar and where Purdue Northwest is. Councilman Dave Warple. Last, but certainly not least, Hammond's 2nd district councilman, Alfonso Slatus. Good to see you. I want to start off with the prepared statement, and then I'll be ready to answer questions. For those of you that heard my statement in the State House earlier, this will be somewhat reminiscent of it, so please bear with me. I wanted to first off welcome everybody and say happy 219 Day. It's a fake holiday we made up 10 years ago. That's our area code, and I have a feeling this 219 Day 2026 is going to go down as the best 219 Day in the history of the area code. So happy 219 Day. Today I testified in Indiana State House Ways and Means Committee on Senate Bill 27. I want to thank Governor Mike Braun. You know, thank you. In 2026, it's not often you see people working across party lines. And you certainly don't see it very often coming from elected leaders, the governors, and things of that nature. Governor Mike Braun never let politics get in the way of this deal. He was a champion from the moment this became available. And mayors can't do this on their own. You need help from the state leadership. Governor Mike Braun, thank you very much. Thank you, Governor Mike Braun. I'm a Democrat, and I'm a Democrat in a red state. And sometimes you don't get an opportunity to work with people on the other side of the aisle. So I've known a lot of these people through the media and over the years. A guy like Todd Houston, who's Indiana Speaker of the House. Could we give him a... Todd represents Fishers, Hamilton County. He made it a point, first off, to carry this bill. Speakers don't do that. They don't carry bills. Todd Houston carried this bill. Todd Houston made it a point a couple weeks ago to come to Hammond, Indiana, and meet with elected leaders from Lake and Porter County and tell them what the score was. This deal does not happen without Todd Houston exerting his leadership like that. So thank you to Todd Houston, Indiana Speaker of the House. I'm going to try not to cry. So, oh my goodness. Bear with me. Senator Ryan Mishler and I got elected at the same time. His career went off in one direction, I went off in another. I've been mayor for 22 years here in Hammond. Senator Mishler's been in the Indiana Senate, and he's become one of the leaders of the Indiana Senate. This is a guy that when he carries bills, they get it done. When Senator Mishler picks up a bill, that bill's going to pass. And when Senator Mishler picked up Senate Bill 27 and carried it, I knew that we were well on our way. So Senator Ryan Mishler, thank you very much. Representative Earl Harris, he's one of ours. He's from the region. His father represented Northwest Indiana for decades. Earl has done a great job. His father was one of the original proponents of bringing the Bears to Northwest Indiana, and his father's no longer with us. Representative Earl was a great guy. We all miss him. His son has picked up the mantelpiece. He passed a bill last year that established a sports tourism agency here in Northwest Indiana, and I know today was a very special day for Earl Harris to see what happened in the Indiana State House happen. So thank you very much, Representative Earl Harris. And last but not least, Jim McGough. I don't think he'd want me to mention him the way I'm mentioning him. This guy has worked thousands of hours on this project. making it happen. This guy gets deals done. He's done Lucas Oil Stadium. Jim McGough, this deal does not happen without his leadership and the leadership of the Indiana Finance Authority. So thank you very much to Jim McGough as well. As I told the Ways and Means Committee today, this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for the city of Hammond. Hammond is ready to partner with the state and the Chicago Bears and do whatever it takes to make this project a success and to welcome the Bears to Hammond, Indiana. The Ways and Means Committee voted 24-0 today to advance this bill. I've been watching the General Assembly my whole career. You can't get 24 state reps to agree on many things. They agreed today, Republicans and Democrats alike, to spend billions of dollars in Hammond, Indiana, to bring a multi-billion-dollar, world-famous NFL franchise to our state, making us one of the few states in the country with 2 NFL teams. Indiana's headed in the right direction, and I want to thank every member of the Ways and Means Committee today for doing what they did. The move by the state of Indiana and the Bears tells the rest of the country that Indiana is not just keeping up, it's leading. Although the location has not been determined, we're not going to talk about that because it's not me to talk about it. This is the Bears project, and when they're comfortable and ready to talk, they're going to talk about it. But basically, Senate Bill 27 is important to the city of Hammond because it defined the term city as the city of Hammond, Indiana. I know we've seen a lot of proposals coming from other municipalities and even other states that decided to jump into this ordeal. All along, we knew that Hammond was the chosen location, but we couldn't say anything. Today, I was finally freed in Senate Bill 27, defining the term as city. And those of you that know me know I like to talk. So the past couple months has been really hard on me, so I'm finally free, and thank you all for coming. But it lays out a solid framework. Senate Bill 27 also lays out a solid framework for the state's commitment to bringing the Bears to Hammond. The Bears today in their press release mentioned their commitment to finishing the due diligence to fulfill their vision and make a site near Wolf Lake and Hammond their future home, and to build a world-class stadium there. This legislation sets out and establishes the framework for the Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority and the Stadium Board, where Hammond and other governmental entities have representation to help set up property acquisition, finance, leasing, construction, and operation of the stadium once built. This legislation also sets out and establishes the framework for the Northwest Indiana Professional Sports Development Area in Hammond. Our redevelopment commission is ready and prepared to move this forward and to establish it per state statute. This allows an area to include a stadium, parking, training facilities to manage and operate the team. This legislation sets out and establishes Northwest Indiana Stadium Development District in Hammond that operates much like a TIF district does. And as the Speaker of the House pointed out today, this framework is not foreign to Indiana. It's the exact same way that Indiana got the Colts deal done with Lucas Oil Stadium, as well as the Pacers deal done. So Indiana, for Hammond, Indiana, Northwest Indiana is being treated exactly as they treated Indianapolis when they got these types of deals done, which I know makes us all feel really good. Of course, the state's going to spend over $1 billion on this proposal, and it's going to require payback. Hammond, there will be taxes on the people that enter this facility. Hammond is expected to pass an admissions tax that will apply to everybody that enters the facility to help pay back this $1 billion. Lake County Innkeepers tax, so the people that come to Hammond and stay the night, that tax is going to go up. The Lake County Food and Beverage tax is supposed to be instituted, and I know county officials have been briefed on this, as well as a Porter County Food and Beverage tax, which is the same model that they used in Marion County and the surrounding counties when they built Lucas Oil Stadium. This proposal is fair. It's an amazing opportunity for our city. It's going to create thousands of jobs. The Bears themselves is thousands of jobs, not to mention the construction jobs that go into the stadium, the parking facilities around the stadium, and the ancillary development that's going to come. And it's going to come. I've heard a lot of people say, Mayor, I've read a lot of smart studies from people, and they say these stadiums don't benefit the area they're located in. I'm willing to give it a shot. Because I tell you what, I think a lot of these places, if you're in New York and you say, what does the stadium do for us here? Or if you're in Chicago, you already got a theater district. You already got hotels. You got all this great development. I have a feeling when we locate this to Hammond and we make this whole development over there, you're going to see the same types of things that develop in downtown Chicago start to develop in Hammond. And it's going to make a major difference on the quality of life of our residents, on our city, and our state. I want to thank everybody for being here, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Congratulations, Mayor.
Tia, you and your
Thank you. This is a happy day. I'm going to give you a question.
Congratulations.
Thank
Tia,
you.
you were with South Chicago.
Hi.
Hello to you. So this afternoon, we had a chance to be here on the ground, talking to residents. I know you mentioned some of the taxes. Will any of the tax burden actually fall on property owners in the area? And what would be your response to those who fear that it may fall on their shoulders?
Not directly. But there will be, I imagine, property values increasing, which raises your taxes. Because in Indiana, we are taxed in our homes at 1% of your home's value. So if you have a $100,000 home, you get property taxes of $1,000 a year. If your home increases in value to $200,000, your taxes are going to go up to $2,000. But your property went up $100,000 in value, and I realize there's people that are struggling to make ends meet. But I think it's a good thing when property values rise. But unfortunately, that also drags up your tax rate as well. But nothing directly now. To answer your question.
Mayor, do you think some still feel that this could still be some type of leverage for the team to eventually pursue the deal in Arlington Heights? What are your thoughts on that?
Initially, this has been a process. I've been involved in this since the holidays. Okay, I'm not going to be specific. But I have to be honest with you, early on, I was very skeptical. But anytime you have an amazing opportunity in economic development, you pursue. And we pursued. And there was one day when property owners were being notified by the state of Indiana that they wanted to acquire their property for this deal. That's when it started to get real for me. And I don't want to be specific, but there is going to be property acquisition involved in this process. And there's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars of infrastructure that's going to be involved in this. Hundreds of millions of dollars of infrastructure improvements to that area involved in this. But so when people were starting to be contacted by the state of Indiana, that's when I felt that it was real. And at the end of the day, if the Chicago Bears spend $10 million in Hammond and they end up saving $1 billion in Illinois, I can't control that. That was a good investment by the Bears. But if Illinois can match our deal, I don't know if they will. But let's say they match. Let's say we have $1 billion on the table and Illinois puts $1 billion on the table. I think 9 times out of 10 the Bears pick Indiana. Because we're a better business climate, and for the next 30 or 40 years, Indiana's going to be in a better position than Illinois. And I think the Bears, as any big business, are looking to save money. So I think they're going to choose Indiana, personally. Yes, ma'am.
Can you speak to essentially what the Wolf Lake area has to offer, especially because I know Gary was in the mix, Portage was in the mix. Why is it Hammond that you think is now where they're trying to move forward?
Okay. Location. Let's start with that. All right. I think for the Bears, I can't speak for the Bears, but if I was running the Bears, I would want to be as close as possible to Soldier Field. But if you can be only 20 miles from Soldier Field and get all the amazing advantages Indiana offers to businesses, why wouldn't you be put your toe over the line, get all the business advantages that Indiana offers, and you're still a bike ride away from Soldier Field? I ride my bike to Soldier Field, so I think that's the answer. Thank you. Yes, sir.
What percentage, if you had, and what percentage roughly of this will fall specifically on people in Hammond versus Lake County residents? Is there a difference in there? What can you give any sort of specific percentage?
I cannot, but I can tell you that the model that is being used in this is just like the model they used in Lucas Oil, which is that I don't think that Speaker Houston, Senator Mitchell, or Governor Brown are looking at this as a Hammond project. They're looking at this as a Northwest Indiana project. And as such, the mayor of Valparaiso today testified in the House that it's going to help his city. And Valparaiso is 30-something miles that way. And the mayor, the Republican mayor, went down to the State House to testify on Hammond's behalf. So he sees benefit out there in Valparaiso. So, yes, sir.
Mayor, what they talk about perhaps there being toll from the expressways here, the Gorman, I-65. Is this part of that package? And what's your message to the Bears? Do you now make a decision on whether to commit to Arlington Heights or to Hammond?
First off, we already have a toll road. And if I don't think I'm almost certain there's no new tolls that are gonna be required in this, as far as anything that's not tolled already, okay? So you're not gonna find out the Borman is getting tolled. No, that is not. If there's change to the tolls, it's gonna happen on the toll road, all right? First off, what's my message to the Bears? Move to Hammond. Come over here, Kevin. Come over here, George. We're a great environment. I want to see Caleb Williams driving down Calumet Avenue, going to his house.
Greg Bragg, CHGO Sports. You know, this is obviously a huge opportunity for Northwest Indiana and their residents, but I'm curious, the fan side of it, Chicago Bears fans that may not have been expecting this to be a reality, what would you say to Bears fans that you have to reach your hand across and invite them over to our area?
We're closer. I think for a lot, if you're on the south side of Chicago, they should be applauding this move, because Arlington Heights isn't close to, and there's hundreds of thousands of Bears fans here in Northwest Indiana. I'm one of them.
Yes.
Arlington Heights that's a haul. And I mean, it's discouraging to hear, to me, it's discouraging to hear the Bears even considering Arlington Heights. I think if you're in downtown Chicago or on the south side of Chicago, they should be applauding this move, because we're going to be much closer to you, the fan, than if the Bears moved to Arlington Heights.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Will the residents of Water Gardens be affected?
No, ma'am.
Perfect.
Easy answer. No, ma'am.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, what are some of the potential roadblocks that you still see that have to be overcome in order for this to become an official thing?
Sentimentality. It's a big decision for the Bears. You know, I mean, the San Francisco 49ers play in Santa Clara, right? The Dallas Cowboys play in Arlington, all right? The Kansas City Chiefs just moved to Kansas City, Kansas, right? I think that's the biggest obstacle that the Bears are facing right now is, are we comfortable with making our mailing address Hammond, Indiana? I think once they get over that and once they see all the advantages that Indiana offers, I think the decision is going to be an easy one.
What can you tell us about the $2 billion commitment that was mentioned this morning? Is that actually going towards the stadium itself, which was similar in the Arlington Heights proposal? And then second, just how can you explain the ownership of the stadium, how that will work?
No. Okay. It's not that, maybe they intentionally have left me out of the details, sir. Okay, because I do like to talk, and I'm not trying to do that. Okay, but I can tell you this: the $2 billion, or $1.5 billion that the state of Indiana is putting up, they want to get paid back, and I don't blame them. All right. So, quite frankly, we made early commitments. City Hammond, obviously, it's a big part of our city that we'd be potentially giving up to the Bears. Those were our commitments early on. Once the state realized we were serious, that we were good partners for them, they started negotiating these types of details, sir. And quite frankly, I don't feel it's my place if I'm not writing the check to be involved in that. You know, but I'm super happy that the state chose us. It's one of the most amazing. I've been married 22 years. This is the most amazing day of work I've ever had. So.
Can you characterize your involvement and your discussions with the Bears themselves?
Sure. First off, I'm a fan. So meeting people, talking to people about moving to your city, people that you see on TV, it took a couple seconds to get over that. So, but I think I think the Bears are frustrated with what's going on in Illinois. I really do. I feel like they're tired of asking and being vilified. It hit me. I went to the playoff game. I was at the Bears-Packer game, and we were singing the fight song because we won that game. It was a good one. And when we were singing the fight song, you get to that part. It says, "The pride and joy of Illinois." And I was thinking to myself, because I met with Bears ownership by then, and I was thinking to myself, they're not being treated like the pride and joy of Illinois. And I think that's a good way to sum up, in my impression, how they feel. It's just, I think they're sick and tired of it. They're sick and tired of the runaround. They are a world-class organization, and they can't get the deal done in their home state, and as soon as they come to Indiana, they get a unanimous vote, Republicans and Democrats out of the House Ways and Means Committee. It's night and day, the treatment that the Bears are receiving in Indiana versus the treatment they're getting in Illinois, sir. Yes, sir.
Mayor, question, how much of the Gary Airport was put into your pitch to the state, to the Bears?
Gary Airport's about 5 miles that way. It's
the connection to the toll road, and is it making it easier accessible for teams flying in?
I hope so. I mean, it wouldn't make sense if you're flying in the Kansas City Chiefs, we might as well stay on that. If the Kansas City Chiefs are flying in, why would you fly into Midway or when you got the Gary Airport right in our backyard?
That part.
So I think that's a great, and I talked to Mayor Dalton this morning, I appreciate him calling me and being a gentleman, and I definitely mentioned that to him. Mayor Mountain, the Gary Airport is gonna be a huge beneficiary of this deal, so.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you. I got you.
Mayor, it's a pleasure to have you today speaking about this for our district in the city of Hammond.
Thanks, Councilman.
I'd like to know, is there any time frame about what happens next, either by the state or by the Bears? Do we have any knowledge of how that's going to play out in time frames?
I can tell you, in Indiana, this bill still has to finish going through the House. That should happen relatively quickly. And then it has to be brought back over to the Senate. And I have every indication that the Senate's going to be similar to the treatment it's getting in the House because of the leaders that are involved. And then the governor's already indicated he's going to sign it. So I think the Bears already know what our deal is and it's on our table, but it's being formalized. Okay, this is our tentative offer, but we have to go through the process. Now, I imagine Illinois is going to try to rally. It's pride and joy of Illinois we're talking about, right? And then when Illinois puts their offer next to Indiana, I think their offer is going to pale in comparison to the offer from Indiana. And I don't think there's any way possible that Illinois can match what we offered the Bears.
Will this happen before the session ends at the end of February?
Indiana as well, I can assure you that, Councilman. Thank you for the question. Yes, sir?
Is there a deadline for the Bears to act on the Indiana offer, or can they just sit on that for another year?
Good question. I can't tell you specifically, but I can only tell you from what I know from speaking with the Bears, they're anxious to get started. I think if they had their druthers, they'd be digging the hole this summer. I think the Bears are anxious to get this moving, so I don't think they want to sit on it, personally. Yes, sir.
Yeah, when you talk about, there still has to be other stuff required and such as far as, around the potential sites, what do you have in mind, or what have others maybe had in mind as far as what things surrounding the stadium, like hotels, other certain things like that? What is the vision for that, or what would be the vision for that, wherever that ends up being?
Bearsville, that's the vision. I want it to be like a section of our city. Where do you live? I live right off of Bearsville. Whatever the Bears think it could be anything they want. This is the blank slate. When the Bears and I first started talking, they said, well, where would you want the stadium? You tell us. We want you. If you want to put it on top of my house, you can have my house. Right? So, it's a blank slate for them. They're going to tell us what they want, and we're going to make it happen.
You mentioned the airport. How much of a consideration would it be to make that a bigger operation than it currently is?
I can tell you for a fact, the state of Indiana is talking about that as we speak. For a fact.
Mayor, I want to go back to something you said in your opening statement. You mentioned also a practice facility.
Yes, ma'am.
Would that be part of this as well, so the Bears would no longer have, sounds like anything except for the Arlington site?
That's absolutely correct. They're talking about Alice Hall, everything. That's breaking.
Wow. And is the drilling done? Because I know there was a picture that circulated.
Oh no, the lawyer's coming. See, you guys are
We're gonna finish up. One more question. That's it. Last question. That's right.
What's that?
Last
Are
question.
they done with the drilling and the site surveys?
I don't know if they're done, but they punched a lot of holes in the northern part of our city. So.
All right. One more question.
Yes, sir.
Zach Miller, Region Sports. Has there been any conversation on what else would happen at the facility other than just football? Would it host other big events?
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest reasons it's going to be a dome. I know Speaker Houston specifically mentioned, I don't want 12 games, 13 games a year, and then it's shut down for the rest of the year. He wants it active year-round, and I agree wholeheartedly. That's one of the main reasons it's going to be a dome.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate you guys.